back to my Fearless Fretter YouTube channel. I just wanted to talk today a little bit about some of the frustrations with the guitar and just do one or two things here on my GoPro with my classical guitar. Frustrating things, getting things wrong can be a very, very good learning curve. I found with the guitar. It can create frustrations, but if you can flip that mindset, it can also be very powerful. The mistakes you made can be your strength a little bit later on. And I wanted to use something as a bit of an example. There's a lot of songs out there that got really good introductions to them, or just an introduction. How can I put this? As somebody who's a big heavy rock fan, there's some songs out there which sometimes you think, geez, you know what, I really like that. That sounds really good. And I firmly believe if you are playing something you really like or trying to learn something you really like, it makes it a lot easier. When I was a kid many years ago, I learned the piano from the age 6 until 16. I got up to grade 6, passed all my exams. I wasn't going to set the world alight, but I got them all. And quite often you play things you really like. This is classical piano, but there'd be a lot of stuff too that the teacher would make you play and you thought, not so interested. So I think it's probably a bit of a daft thing to say, but if you start playing things you really like, it can just create that interest, and it's nice when it all of a sudden happens. You think, yeah, I've got it, it's great, and it just propels you forward. Now I want to use a classic example of getting something wrong for a while and not realizing it until a little bit later on. And the song I've been working on is Someone Like You by Adele, and I used to play it like this. Okay, so originally I started to mess around. I wanted to get the intro to that song, which is actually played on a piano. It's played on a keyboard. But I finally came up with A for Someone Like You for the intro, and I was in the key of A. And I had to transpose it down, if that makes sense, in a way, because it's normally played with a capo across the... People put a capo on it across, I think it's the 3rd fret, and then play it. I had to transpose it down into playing it, trying to work out how to play it without the capo, and it took a little bit of time. But I finally came up with an A with this. And I kept playing, I kept messing around and all that. And I finally found there's a minor key, so I was doing this. So it's going. Then again, I listened to the song trying to work out what the key is in for the next bit, the 3rd bar I think it is, and I realised it was, which is F sharp major. So I tried different notes, and I realised that you had to put your whole finger like a bar across the 2nd fret there, which is, you need to push down a bit. And then I started going like this. I thought that sounded pretty good, that's about right. And then again, trying to work out the next key, what key it's in the next bit, and it was in the key of D. So then I worked out. So I thought, to cut a long story short, I thought that sounded pretty good, so I was going. I thought, yeah, I had it, and I worked on that for about a month just to try and get it right, get the notes right. It took a little bit of time. It's not a terribly difficult thing to play, but I thought I've got it. Then one day I listened to the song again. I had my headphones on, I was outside doing something, and I thought, you know what, I'm not happy. I thought it sounded right, but there's just something I'm not happy about. So I went back and started to listen to it again, and I realised I was playing it totally wrong. So I had the frustrations kicking a little bit. And I think, oh, geez, okay. So I had to try and work out how to play it again. I wasn't too far off, but it was wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, we do make mistakes, we do get things wrong, and this is how you learn. So by making the mistakes in the first place, even though I was playing it for a month or so, thinking it was right, just sitting down in the bedroom here, I realised it was wrong. It pointed me in the right direction. So when you actually find out you're doing it wrong, but then you correct it and you actually get it right, it really kicks in. It's quite a good feeling. And this is what you feed off to propel you on, maybe to learn the rest of the song. So in the end, I realised this should have been this. then this should have been this. And then this. I was close, but should have been this. But the bit at the end I had right, so I was. So I managed to get it right, I managed to correct it, so now I'm playing it properly and it sounds pretty good, well, almost perfect to what it is when it's played on the keyboards in the actual song itself. And there's a bit of a common denominator here too when you're learning to play it, because these two notes, the G string, which you play on the 2nd fret there, I'll show you how to do it in a bit, and the top note are open strings, but they're the same, well, just about all the way through, so we'll emphasise them. Slightly different, but you're playing open strings. Then this is a bit more difficult because you've got to hold the bar down. But all the way through, you're playing the E string, this one. So it sounds something similar to this. To do now is show you how to play that. We'll break it up into bits, and the whole introduction into bars to bits, so that you can grasp it. And you have to bear with me because I don't have the amazing rich equipment that some people like my daughter's partner have for recording, so just bear with me with that one. But I'll get the guitar as close to you as I possibly can and show you the exact notes if you're interested in learning how to play that introduction, because it's such a nice song, and once you've got the introduction down you can start to kick on and maybe play the rest of it. But this is how it goes. Okay, to start off with, find the A string. It's E A D G B E. For those of you that don't know, people who have been playing the guitar for a while will know exactly what they are. So it's just in case you don't. So the open A string, which is that one there. You find that one. Then the next note, okay, is on the G string, and that is this one here. Whoops, sorry. And you're putting your finger in the 2nd fret on the G string there. So that's, so you've got, sorry. And then the next note you play is the open E string. Whoop, bear with me. That one there. Okay, so the only finger, only note you're pressing down is the G string there. So to pluck it, it's E, sorry, start again, A, the G string, then the top E, so it's, and again, finger there, 2nd fret, G string. So you'll have, next bit is almost just as easy. You're only pressing down one string, and the string you're pressing on is the E string, this one again, and your finger is going here, and that's actually A flat, but don't worry about that, it's just the E string you want. But I use my pinky finger because it's just there, it's handy, but you can probably use whatever else, just bearing in mind you're going to have to move about a little bit. So, and the next notes you play, again, are open strings. The B string, that one, and the E string, that one. So it's, so all you're doing again, yep, 4th fret, E string, top string. So that will be, sorry. So now you've got again. And the next bit you do is a little bit trickier. Okay, you're doing a bar, like when you play a bar chord, it's actually F sharp minor, the next bit, but you're putting your this finger again, your index, your pointing finger across all of the notes in the second fret, and you've got to press down pretty hard. That's not quite so easy. So the notes you're picking, you're playing the E string at the top, the G string there, and the other E string at the top, again an octave. So it's again pressing down there, second fret. So it takes a bit of work sometimes, you know, it hurts a bit. So now you've got last bit is pretty simple. You're playing the D string, that one, open. Then it's actually the D chord. That's a D chord, but what you're doing is you're playing these two notes. So this finger on the third fret on the B string, this string on the B string, and the pointy finger again, this one, on the E string on the second fret. So you're actually plucking the open D string and the other two. Again, there it is. So what you've now got is the whole thing, which is if you want to finish it off with that little wee subtle bit, again it's similar to the D chord, but you've got your this finger again on the G on the second fret, and your that finger, the third finger, on the third fret on the B string, and you play the E again, that chord, that note, open. So you've got a little bit of a, it's just very subtle. If you want to do that, you don't have to. So again, just a recap. And something else while we're doing this little introduction to that song, Someone Like You, is breaking those little bits down into just little bars and just taking it right down to walking pace. I'll show you. I found practicing it this way to be pretty effective. Okay, so I found by just slowing that introduction right down to walking pace, even slower, and just repeating this over and over again, I found helped. Just going. really slowly. And don't be afraid to take it down to even slower than walking pace if you just do. As slow as you want to, as slow as you feel comfortable with. And I'll find by doing each bar, just that bit rather than repeating it, just doing each bar just gets you used to those transitions and finding the notes with your fingers, the neural pathway I suppose you could say. And I might do that over and over again without getting bored. The difference is, you know, again, not letting it become a chore, not letting it become a pain. Just enjoying what you're doing and making notice of your progressions and little wins. And after a while you get more used to it. It just becomes that little bit quicker. Then you progress on to so on and so forth. So it's just a really good way of practicing it. Enjoy it. I keep saying don't let it become a pain, don't let it become a chore, or you know, oh my god, I've got to go upstairs now and I've got to work on this. You should be wanting to go up and want to pick up the guitar. You want those little progressions, you want those little wins, and I found that really helped me. But by breaking that introduction to someone like you down to those little bars like that, just helps with the transitions of the fingers and finding the right notes. I've said the neural pathway. And you'll find that it's not when you're playing the guitar, it's when you walk away from it and do something totally different. Nothing to do with the guitar. That's when the brain starts going over everything that is done. And that's when the real work is done up here. So enjoy what you. So I hope I've demonstrated here that getting something wrong when you're learning the guitar, even if it doesn't sound too bad, it sounds quite right, by correcting it and getting it to what it should be is quite a tonic, and it really does propel you on to into the next things. And by sitting down now when I do it myself, I'll still make a few mistakes, but I just know I'm doing it correctly, and it's a good feeling to think, okay, I learned from that. Again, there's these wins that you get that they're really, really beneficial, and I think making mistakes is really quite powerful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really appreciate it if you would like or subscribe to this channel. There's other stuff I'm certainly really keen to put on there. I love playing the guitar. I hope that you have the same enthusiasm as I do. Music's great, and it doesn't matter how good or bad we are. It's a personal thing, and it's just a pleasure of playing and be able to sit down in a room and just work things out and finally come up with something and think, gee, I'm pleased with that. That's what it's all about. So I've said before, I hope that we can bounce off each other. Put comments on there if you think I've done something wrong, that's fine. I can learn from it too. We can all help each other out there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and look forward to doing the next video.